What is up, y'all? We're back with another Terrifier 3 and 4 video. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So to get into this, I want to talk about what could potentially happen to Terrifier 4 and that ending with Terrifier 3. So to get into it, we see that in this ending, Sienna goes up against Art the Clown and Victoria. She gets the sword, and the sword ends up healing her injuries from what just happened, what Art did to her hands and everything, the mallet going up against her shoulder. She gets healed immediately once she gets this sword in her hand, and she takes out Victoria, and Victoria ends up bleeding out into a blood puddle. And then she goes to Art the Clown and she jams this sword in his chest that shows us that this sword is very powerful, like we saw in Terrifier 2, where it ends up eliminating his powers, it seems to be. We start to see Art the Clown almost began to look lifeless. His eyes are going white, and he's starting to like almost kind of just suffer, and he has his mouth open and everything, and you see the power leaving him. And then she has to make this choice: should I save my cousin Gabby, or should I continue to take out Art the Clown? And I think that's what kind of told me where that situation was going, where she ends up having to leave Art the Clown and then rescue Gabby, or at least try to rescue Gabby. And she uses the sword, and then Gabby falls into the portal of hell, and the sword falls in there with her. So now Sienna's help is now gone. Sienna's help is now gone, which is that sword being her help throughout the situations with Art the Clown and the demons and all the evil entities and everything she's dealing with. But then something stood out to me that really didn't seem Art the Clownish, if that makes sense. So usually Art the Clown, if you got your back turned to him or anything, you're done for. We actually seen that, with a lot of situations with Art the Clown, and we seen him approach Sienna with her back turned before, many times, especially in the end of Terrifier 2. So what's so special about this moment that makes Art the Clown actually leave the situation as if he's afraid? I think in this moment, he ends up losing his powers. Yes, and I talked about this in previous videos we just did recently. I think he lost his powers. I think what happens is, and I know for a fact he's lost them, it seems, because he's at the bus stop. He seems like he's not Art the Clown. He seems like he's just kind of just not having that energy he usually has. He gets on his bus. He sees this woman reading this book called The Ninth Circle, which is a callback to one of Damien's older films. And we see a big picture of this woman on the back of the book, which I wish I had a picture of. It's the author, right? I think, to be honest, it's kind of Damien telling us something, because we see Art the Clown sitting and he's looking at the chick on the bus, and he's just like, he seems lifeless, he doesn't seem too much like Art the Clown. But then at a point right before we get the credits, he hunks his horn, and once he hunks his horn, it's like he's back in Art the Clown mode, almost like a new entity is forming, someone new, an entity is being, brought to reality, like a Victoria or a Pale Girl. We know that we potentially just lost Jonathan. Now, I don't know if Jonathan's really a goner, man. This is just me speculating. I think that if they did an off-screen death like that, maybe it's for like shock or something. That's all I could think about. But personally, I think it's them testing things right now. I think, to be honest, Jonathan's not really dead, and that's why they shot it the way they shot it, with the glasses on the skull. And maybe Jonathan is finally getting what he wanted. What I mean is, basically, we know in Terrifier 2, Jonathan was obsessed with the Miles County Clown, and he had the costume. He's reading articles asking him to be this guy for Halloween. So maybe we will see Jonathan as the pale boy. But throughout Terrifier 4, we see him get converted over to the pale boy and everything, but at the end he ends up switching his type of vibe and energy to him helping his sister and taking out Art the Clown. But we do see him at a point be one of Art the Clown's partners, that evil entity, that host that's providing that power to Art the Clown. So that would make sense, but I can be wrong once again, guys. But pushing forward back to that bus scene with the woman on the back of the book, the author of The Ninth Circle, I have a real good feeling that, since we found out that Sienna is really being, invested in this whole lore that she's finding out through her brother, through that letter, he's telling her how to deal with the demons, what they need to do, and who's the host of the evil energy. So she knows that now. I think that's why they showed the book. She's going to reach out to that author, because the Ninth Circle deals with demons. It's the worst part of hell. And I think that's where she's going to learn a lot, and she's going to figure out like, hey, I have to go to hell to defeat these demons in Art the Clown. You know, I think she's going to kind of do some work with that woman who wrote The Ninth Circle, and that's a callback to one of Damien's older films. But I can be wrong. That's the whole, I could be wrong, but it just seems too good, like, to not even go that route. But pushing forward, it was something else that I kind of thought about. So we hear that, you know, basically Art the Clown was a serial killer at a point. He was a serial killer. He was a regular human, but the evil entity latched on to him due to him being so evil, and they just wanted that type of energy. So they kind of huddled over him and gave him a little bit more power through like the Pale Girl and Victoria. But from start, Art the Clown was a serial killer. He was a regular human, and we kind of read about that in that Carnival newspaper with the Pale Girl, her story, her parents, the carnival and everything, which makes me think, what's the tie-in with Art the Clown? Like, did he used to be a carnival worker? Did he used to work there? You know, was he like a clown in the carnival that ended up getting some type of motive to take out the parents? And it's going to be like a little backstory with him working for this carnival. And that's why, you know, we have this clown type of look to him and everything. And like you already talked about the black and white significance, possibly with, you know, the dad drawing the comics on the paper, which is black and white. And that's why all the entities being Victoria, the Pale Girl, Art the Clown were black and white, because they're literally coming out of Sienna's dad's story off of paper with white paper and black ink. So I can be wrong about that, but I definitely think it's something with the carnival and everything. We definitely seen the Pale Girl's mom in Terrifier 1. Remember, she's talking to the baby and she's calling the baby Emily, which we found out is the real name of the Pale Girl, Emily Crane. So that was her mom and everything. So it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And when you sit here and think about everything definitely connects. Now, with everything in Art the Clown and Terrifier 1, he did seem, when I looked at Art the Clown, he did seem a little bit more human. And I just watched this film over, and when you look at the things he was doing, he seemed like a regular serial killer. Like the stuff he was doing, he was just a little brutal. But as we progressed towards the end is when he started, you know, seeming a little different, especially when he deletes himself. Like, at that moment, I didn't know what to think when he deleted himself in Terrifier 1. I'm like, damn, so he went out like that. But then in Terrifier 2, we see him being revived, has the hole in the back of his head. And now we see remember, we see the papers moving, the lightning, all this shit. Like this, you just hear this noise, and he's walking to the doctor. It's like some type of supernatural shit is going on. I'm putting together that when him being revived, that was with the Pale Girl being involved, like that host of energy I was telling you guys about, of evil energy, the evil entity that is giving Art his power. That's why I opened up like that in Terrifier 2 with him just kind of looking sinister and walking, because he's no longer a human. So that sacrifice he took with him deleting himself with the pistol, it ended up leading to him being revived by an evil entity, which is the same entity that's shared between Victoria and the Pale Girl. And that's what gave him his power to make him immortal. The whole time, Art the Clown, he wasn't supernatural until Terrifier 2. That's why he started doing a lot of things, sticking eyeballs in his eye, you know, you're just recuperating from his injuries and stuff like that. So it's making a lot of sense, honestly, you know. So then at the end of Terrifier 2, we see him get beheaded by Sienna, you know, with this sword and everything. His head is off his shoulders. And then we see the Pale Girl ends up getting his head and walking off into this dark room. And then later we see his head being rebirthed from Victoria's vajayjay. So now I'm putting together that actually, I mean, I already knew this, but Victoria and the Pale Girl are literally like the same because of the entities being shared. They have the same mindset and everything. They're sharing the evil entity. So that's why at the end of Terrifier 3, Victoria looked a little pale girlish with the black and white on, you know, and she had it on her face. So to be honest, if y'all want to be technical, we kind of seen the Pale Girl. She's just in Victoria form now. So that's what ends up happening. You know, they had to get the head to make sure he comes back to life. And then it's a new shell and, you know, presence of an evil entity, which is Victoria. And they're trying to take care of Sienna in the end because they know she's powerful. She's the savior. She was the one that selected to, you know, cause that balance and make them kind of, you know, have problems and not just have a fluid, evil journey of taking people out and gaining new hosts and stuff like that. So that's why they know Sienna's very powerful. That's why Victoria told her when she was trying to kind of possess her, she said, oh, that's why they selected you. You're strong, you know, and everything. So I think that with everything with Terrifier 4, what's going to happen is they're definitely going to hell. you know, kind of like a callback to the Ninth Circle. I think they gotta go to Hell at this point to take out Art the Clown. But it's going to be a very interesting movie, being that Art the Clown no longer has powers. He no longer has powers, so he's back to square one, Art the Clown. He's back to Terrifier 1, Art the Clown. You know what I'm saying? And Sienna also has lost her help, being that sword. You know, without that sword is a dangerous game. So I wonder if Damon's going to do that type of route with Terrifier 4, where they're not having this power next to him. Is it going to be human versus human? Like, you know, almost, it kind of seems like the Freddy Krueger thing, like how Freddy, once he's in his world, he's human. So it's like a fair battle and stuff like that. So I wonder, is it going to be a thing like that? Or it's going to be something where Sienna retrieves the sword last minute and Art no longer has his powers and that happens? Is it going to be something where we see Art the Clown go through the whole movie without his powers? Is it going to be something where we see Art the Clown's running away a little bit? He's kind of standoffish a little bit because he knows that he can get hurt at any time. Or is it going to be something where he gets his powers in the beginning, he's back to regular Art the Clown? You have to get the powers took away from him once again, like you did in Terrifier 3. I don't know. Either way, I think it's going to be very interesting. But I think what is scary is that if Art the Clown doesn't have powers, that's a scary Art the Clown for me, because I feel like he's going to double down on everything just because it's like out of him knowing what can happen. That's why I think in Terrifier 1, people are saying, oh, okay, so if he was human, why was he doing it? Bro, that's just how sadistic and crazy he was. And that's why that evil energy latched onto him, because they knew how messed up he was. Look at what he did to Don with the hacksaw. There's no supernatural stuff going on right there. He just did that as a serial killer. So Art the Clown is still going to be very much active if he has no powers, because he was already a serial killer before that, a regular serial killer with no powers. So overall, I think Victoria is definitely dead, just her shell. But I definitely think that entity is still out there and is going to take over someone. And, you know, maybe Gabby, I think, you know, I heard people say, you know, maybe Gabby can be the new Pale Girl. But in order for Gabby to be the new Pale Girl, like Jonathan said in his letter, it has to be one of Art the Clown's previous victims. So it has to be someone that passed on to the other side, and they could take control of that vessel, being possibly Jonathan if he's really a goner. I get the vibes that Gabby, when she fell down there, she's like trapped, you know, maybe by demons. Maybe they have her caged up and they're like hovering over her or something. I just get the vibes that Sienna's going to go save her from hell with the sword, and we're going to get introduced into, you know, the venue of hell, and we get to see everything where Art the Clown comes from, and what's the host, what's the real host, the true forms of these demons. I think we're going to see a lot of that in Terrifier 4, because Damien is kind of leaning towards the fourth one being the last one for now. He's talking like in the future he want to do like that Halloween 2018 type of thing. I could just understand the passion between, you know, Damien and his films. He don't want to let go. I definitely think that what's going to happen with Terrifier 4 is going to be connected to hell. And there's a lot of the origins with the demons and Art the Clown. And to be honest, I'm scared. Well, I want to say this real quick with Terrifier 4, because the shower scene was brutal. The bedroom scene was brutal. So those two scenes alone, you know, Damien's formula, he's known for topping shit. How are you going to top that shower scene, bro? What are you going to do? Like, I don't get... What can he do, y'all? Like, what could he do? Like, I think with that rat kill, that shows me the capabilities he can do. I feel like when shit gets nasty like that, that's when it starts for me getting like, oh shit, I can't see that. You know what I'm saying? So I think in Terrifier 4, he's going to get nastier with the kills, being like, we already seen the rat, so what's next? Like, you know, poop, I don't know. Like, I mean, he did it in Terrifier 1, but there's going to be something that's disgusting for Terrifier 4. I can feel it, bro. I really can feel it. So he's definitely going to try to probably top that kill again. And I've heard people say, what if, you know, they tackle the holiday of Easter? I mean, I think if they did any holiday, they already did Christmas, it has to be one that's kind of attached to religion and, like, you know, stuff with religious stuff going. And I think it could be Easter. I think if they could tackle any holiday, it would be Easter. But if not any holiday, I just wouldn't go with the holiday route. I would just do straight regular story, back to square one, Terrifier, you know, hell's being involved. That's enough right there, hell being involved. So yeah, guys, comment down below what you all think about everything we just talked about with these Terrifier 4 theories and the end of Terrifier 3. Let me know down in the comments, or are you enjoying these Terrifier videos? But yeah, guys, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. I want y'all to hit me up on my social medias at ILIKESCARY on every platform. I want you to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. Peace.